Dill from the Divorce Coaching. What I'd like to speak about today really is divorcing behaviours. So it's quite an interesting topic in the sense that all the clients I've seen over the years and current clients that I'm dealing with, what are the main behaviours that come out? And unfortunately, if any of you were ever to be in a divorce or go through a divorce, what to try and avoid. But also, I'm sure you've all been in relationships at some point that have ended, or been in marriages that have ended. So some of these behaviors might resonate with you. But before I sort of start talking about it, I'm just going to open the floor up and ask you if there's anything that springs to mind, that when a relationship's ended, how the other party has behaved that you've not felt comfortable with. So if I can just open that up. I know it's a bit of a personal question, but if anybody's happy to answer it, I'll be really grateful to hear. So Tina, please.
So I didn't actually experience this because I purposely didn't do it, but other people got upset about it. It's when you know that things aren't going to work out and one or both parties just go and speak to other people about it, rather than either having a conversation or asking actually for advice. We didn't do that, so everyone was really shocked because nothing was mentioned until we'd separated. But I think if one partner just goes away and confides in somebody else, it just, whether that person's, male, female or whatever, it just throws a whole load of other emotion into it. And I think that can create a problem.
But also, that's interesting, and thank you for sharing that. But it also, that trust element is shown that trust has already gone, because that individual is speaking to somebody else. So that is quite common. And I think a lot of people share how they're feeling rather than sharing it with their partner and having that conversation. They go and share it with somebody else, and then it gets back, and then matters get worse. So that's not uncommon at all, Tina. That happens quite regularly. Anybody else brave enough to share, even if it wasn't a divorce, it was a relationship? Martin?
Not me, but this person here just shouted out narcissist.
Okay. Yes, I know that person there in the background. Narcissist. Would Vanessa like to come on a little bit and share? Come on, Vanessa, we know you're there. Come on, get out your seat.
Hi.
Okay, so if you don't mind explaining what you mean. I mean, a lot of us may know and not know what narcissist is, but so we're talking about divorcing or relationship breakup behavior. So if you're able to share how you felt or what you experienced, because I think it was quite a long relationship, yours, if you don't mind me.
Thanks, Marv. I'm just referring to when somebody's quite unaware of their own behaviours. But I think I've been listening to podcasts about this, and I think it's a psychological. It starts from childhood, doesn't it? That sort of thing. It's not a learned behaviour. People are always aware of what they're like, but it doesn't help with relationships when it comes to a point where somebody feels as if they're never wrong, and they unintentionally devalue or take or sort of eat at your confidence a little bit. Is kind of where I was getting at when I was, to be honest, I just shouted the word out as soon as I heard relationship. I just got angry. So
I'm sorry it made you feel like that.
I was like, oh, this is an apt conversation where I've just been. I was like,
no, thanks for sharing that. So yeah, again, narcissism. You can stay there if you want, or Martin can come back. It's up to you. Yeah, that is a common behaviour that I see. To the point where I can't really even work with that other partner that's a narcissist or displaying those kind of behaviors, because it makes my role, which is one of being amicable, really difficult. And one of the questions last week was, what service do you offer that you don't really like offering straight away? And that's going to solicitors straight away. If I feel that I just can't work with this person, I will just bat it off to a solicitor straight away and I'm like, you deal with him or her. And it can be a woman as well. It's not just men that are narcissists. There's many women that I've dealt with on the other side that are narcissists, who need to be dealt with in a certain way, because my approach will just simply not work at all. Another behaviour that I'd like to mention is behaving business-like. I don't know if anybody knows what I mean by that. Does anybody want to have a guess? When you're sort of splitting up and you're behaving very business-like.
Do you mean like they're very matter of fact, and it's like the emotions taken out of it, and this is yours, fine, thanks for dealing with you, sort of transactional rather than.
That's it. Yeah, that's brilliant, Vanessa. Yeah, very business-like. Like, I need to do this. I'm going to do this. This is how we're going to do it. So all the emotional is stripped out of it. But that really affects the other partner, and it can affect the children. I'm dealing with a case at the moment where mum is living in the house with the 3 children. Dad has left, but he's asking for the wife to sell the property or buy him out. She can't afford to buy him out. It's been the children's home since birth. So there's no emotion in that. He just wants his money. He doesn't care how he gets it. If he has to put the children into care or into local authority accommodation, she can't afford rent. So it's very uncomfortable behaviours, but it's behaviours that we see time and time again. So that's not helpful at all. Another one of the behaviours is behaving like a bully. So it's where this is where one of the partners will humiliate the other partner, and it'll be in front of people like me. They'll bring conversations in or digs at the other person, and that's not helpful. Or they make them feel in fear. So they'll say certain things that make them feel in fear, and basically just dominate and control the situations. Paul Martin sitting at the back. Vanessa's controlling the situation here.
I'm a bully.
Yeah, so that's quite common. But one common feature that you won't see that you think, well, this can't be the case, but it's when one partner moves on too soon. I see that quite common. So they'll split up, and before you know it, wife or husband will be saying, "Oh, they've already got another partner," and they're like really shocked at that. And what I will say about that is, once you're coming out of a partnership, you know, even though you're in control and you've made that decision, there are feelings of sadness, loneliness, loss, fear of being alone. And what you do is you just jump into the arms of the next person that comes along. So instead of saying I do, you're just saying you'll do. And that's not ideal. It's not ideal at all, because you're just coming out of the fire and going into another fire. So you've just got to be really careful not to move on too soon. I mean, I've got people who don't want to move on, and I think it's time for them to move on. So much that I think I've said this before, I'm thinking of setting up a business, an annex like dating, like a dating site, because obviously I'm in touch with all these lovely people who have divorced or separated, so I can put such and such with such and such and take it from there. But yeah, so those are the 3 common ones. They're moving on too soon, the controlling behaviours, and sorry, what else did I say? Behaving like business-like, and obviously, you know, other people have said other behaviours that they've witnessed when they've split up from a marriage or from a long-term relationship. Has anybody got any questions in respect of anything that I've said? Well, that's really good.
Only it's a shame that you don't have kind of divorce guidance. I mean, you couldn't do it. Could you have divorce guidance like when you get married, like just in case, like you do a return when you go and buy something at a shop, they say you've got this amount of time with your receipt if you need to bring it back. If when you got married, you had, I suppose it's what, like marriage, wedding lessons that some people go to. It's about communication, isn't it? And like, so if things break down, when you start to know there's a problem, start talking, but the majority of people don't. So all of these mistakes that you're talking about, I presume, are very, very common because people don't know how to deal with it, because it's not something they've ever been taught how to do.
I mean, I think obviously you all remember the lovely Tony that was on our networking. She talked previously about before she was allowed to get married to Ben in church. I hope she don't mind me saying this, is that she had to actually go for marriage lessons. And they obviously worked, because I think they've been married 21 years now. And so they've had a really sort of like long-term marriage and happy. So there must be something in that. But I have thought about, marriage fairs, wedding fairs, about having a little stall set up there. I don't think anybody would come near me, like the divorce coach. They're like, what's she doing here? But it's all about making provisions, even like prenups and things like that, sorting out your finances, know what's going to happen if the inevitable does happen, because it's just so much easier if you manage to write it down and then even review it. It's uncomfortable practices and procedures to do that, but if you can review it every couple of years, that is really good practice, and it opens up communication with your partner. And that's really important. I know Claire and Simon are getting married soon. So Claire, Simon, write it down. Thank you very much, unless there's any other questions today.